Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right. So I figured I'd say what's up since this is one of the first days in a very long time that I haven't posted anything. I was having a pretty good day. There's nothing wrong at all. Actually, I just went about my day slowly, did laundry today, and knocked out 25 pieces of art. Some pretty good ones there, too. I just wanted to get back into the swing of things. About to run out of paper in about a couple of weeks, so I better buy some more. But yeah, man, what made me turn my camera on is because some random Facebook friend posted a rest in peace to someone by the name of Prince Fulmer. Now, I don't know who Prince Fulmer is. My last name is Fulmer, so it's one of them situations where I check to see if we had any mutuals. We don't. So if anything, it's one of those things where it's like his last name is Fulmer, but he might not necessarily be related to me, or he may be somebody that's extremely distant. You know what I mean? Like cousin. But when I looked at him, I could tell that, we come from the same clan. Once I saw pictures of him, like, oh yeah, he looked like the great grandfather. You know what I mean? He had the same head shape as the Fulmer, so he's one of us type thing. You could tell, even though it's slight similarities, you can always tell if somebody's coming from that clan of Fulmers that my grandfather Ted is from, or his brother or something. He was probably somebody's nephew, that kind of thing. Great grandfather's great uncle type son, distant 8th, 9th cousin, something like that. But it just goes to show you, man, you just never know, man. He was out there doing however he was living, man. You could tell in the pictures that he was thugging somewhere in the South, man, and lost his life likely to some gang violence, the way they was speaking about it. And it's just help you understand it's easy to lose touch with family. You may look over at your nephews and nieces and they're all together right now, but once they start having kids and those kids start having kids and those kids start having kids, you can lose family quickly. You could definitely lose family, man. And it's one of those situations where, for all I know, his great grandfather and my great grandfather probably was in the same household, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I ain't never heard of him. He never heard of me. He passed away. He never met me. But like, it's one of those situations where, everybody's related to somebody. You don't know if people are good people or bad people. You don't really know. You know what I mean? It's not safe to just say, hey, just because we got the last name, let's just get into each other's lives and know one another. It's not necessarily the safest thing to do in this world, but it does make you wonder if family were close. In my situation, not everybody has this. You might be from an entirely different part of the spectrum where you know all of your family, but maybe I could have had some type of influence on his life to keep him out of the circumstances that he was ultimately in. I say to myself, if I knew him, you know what I mean? If families would have stayed together like they were supposed to be, where everybody knows everybody, you know what I mean? Like they do in other countries, where even though you got like a 7th or 8th niece or nephew, y'all all grew up in the same neighborhood, y'all all know each other, and they never lost touch, and everybody still go get together on, special occasions, stuff like that. It's the way it's supposed to be. And, I came here today thinking, why can't it start being that again? Why can't, with this generation and this idea in my mind, we start thinking about how to keep our nieces and nephews and our, cousins and people that we know are close? How can we do more to keep family close, even if they distant? Because people are going to sprout out, you know what I mean? Move all over the country, lose touch with one another, fall out, circumstances, especially over money in this capitalistic world. But can we redo that? Can we evolve in such a way to start doing what it is that should have always been done, which is keeping our kids together? I looked over at some of his pictures and realized he has some seeds that he left behind, toddlers that left behind. He was young. He probably wasn't older than 23 when he died. And it's like, you know what I mean? You just wonder how they gonna grow up. Will they even know their last name? That kind of thing. It's like, will they even keep that Fulmer last name, or was it pass on with him? And so it's just the type of thing that makes you wonder if there's something we can do to kind of reset that to a degree, so that, yeah, in this generation, I may not know of my 3rd cousin, 4th cousin, whatever he may have been, But in the next generation, can we start making it normal for us to stay in touch with those type of people? Because all it is keeping in touch with your cousins. All it is keeping in touch with their kids and making sure you're just a phone call away, making sure you're just a social media presence away. And with the advent of social media, it should be much easier to keep in touch than it was over the last 100 years. You know what I mean? For families and stuff like that. That's why I try to stay connected to all of the people in my immediate family. I know of my brothers and sisters and their kids, you know what I mean? Even if I haven't met them in the flesh, I know of them. I know when somebody have a baby, you know, that kind of thing. And so these are the type of things that I think are important, and try to get that structure back. Because a lot of us, especially in the African-American community, we don't have a whole lot of history to trace back. But that don't have to be the case going forward. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't have to necessarily be what we do. And maybe you're not African-American, but just the same. Doesn't matter who you're related to. The point is, it should be no reason y'all lose touch. It should be no reason you don't know of someone who has your last name just because we sprout out all over the world. Now that social media is in place, stay in touch with your people is essentially what I'm saying. Stay in touch with their people, especially if they have kids, you know what I mean? So that those kids can know one another. You know, I often talk about a time when I had a falling out with a friend of mine, you know, with some personal stuff that they had going on between himself and his sister. And the sister was the one I had become friends with, ended up having a falling out with. But my intention was to connect her with her brother. And because of their falling out, that was not something that she welcomed. And this is what I had on my heart when I wanted to do that, because I knew he had kids and she had kids. They were the same age. So it's like, even though y'all fell out, that's selfish of y'all to not want those kids to know one another. That's selfish of y'all to have a mindset that because y'all fell out in y'all little generation right now, that those kids shouldn't at least be aware of one another, or have an opportunity to grow up with one another, or at least not have beef with one another based on your differences. But it wasn't necessarily my place to try to bring them together. And because of it, she didn't trust me anymore once I did that. Once I gave him her number, that was like, why you tell him this? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And it was a problem. But, you know, I've matured to know to stay out of people's business. But I also even matured further to realize that she was wrong for not at least wanting the kids to know one another. I still feel that way 20 years later. And so I tried my best, try to get that message through. But people be having their own, you know, way of doing things and having things about their situation that make it complicated. And those are the type of complexities that need to be deteriorated so that people can know one another and not be so distant from their family. I don't know who this individual was. His name was Prince. And I don't know if it was a falling out between brothers that kept one family from knowing one another, or people just go distant naturally or what have you. But I know I don't know him. He didn't know me. And I think there's something wrong with that. Especially when we all in the same country, all in the same slab of land. So that's where I'm at with that. I think that, like I said, capitalism has robbed us of love, man. That's what it really comes down to. People start thinking about money, start thinking about differences with money, start letting people separate based on what they have to do money-wise. It always comes down to something capitalistic. And I just realized it's a demonic energy that's robbed us of a lot, man. Yeah, we need money, but a lot of times that be what has people falling out. That be what has people staying away from certain people, because you don't have this, so you can't provide that, and I need this security in my life. It's like you've been robbed. You've been robbed of love. You've been robbed of what your priority should actually be in the one life that you have. And when as it pertains to family, it shouldn't be nothing material keeping y'all from knowing one another. Because money loses value, things lose value, times change, but your blood is still running through that person's veins. And you should have some know about how they doing. You should have some connection to them. It shouldn't be classism and different things keeping people from knowing one another based on name, based on blood, based on those type of connections that are always going to be there, whether somebody has a lot or doesn't. Things change or they don't. When it comes down to it, DNA is DNA, and people should know one another, I believe. You see people that have your features, you don't know how they know, how they related to you and stuff like that. A lot of times people been separated, and it just boils down to either differences in money, or people leaving town home to chase money, people being too busy to talk to each other because of money. You know what I mean? It's what it really comes down to in this country. Man, I just had that thought on my mind today. People don't want to, I can't date this person because they don't have a lot of money. That's your soulmate. That's the person you're supposed to be with. That's the person that's going to have, a whole life with you, family, children. Y'all was going to find a way to make money together, but because, I can't deal with this person because they don't have enough, or I can't deal with this person because right now they don't have enough. You don't know what they're going to have tomorrow. You don't know what you and your presence can provide them and making sure they get it. Maybe it's you that's the difference. But a lot of times we want to make sure it's already in place. You got to have that. You got to get that. That type of bankruptcy, spiritual and mental, psychological bankruptcy. And so that's what I think it ultimately separates families. A lot of times it keeps families from even starting. And God knows what may have took that man's life. But 9 out of 10, he was probably trying to chase some money. 9 out of 10. And so I'm not telling y'all not to work for it. I'm not telling y'all not to hustle, whatever you got to do. But just keep it in context, is to say, don't let it rob you of the love that ultimately you are due just by being a human being. Because that's exactly what it's intended to do. Make you prioritize it while allowing it to rob you of the true value of what's worth, of what wealth actually is, which is family, love, peace of mind, continued patience necessary to get through hard times, community. A lot of those things will keep you from the realest people in your life because you prioritize those things over certain qualities that would otherwise put you in a position to have the real community that's really going to help you through the hard times. That's really going to help you be most valued. People I bring them around me because they got money or they know how to get it. And it's like those material things be often putting you around the people with the worst qualities for your lifetime. The worst qualities for what it is that's going to be about your growth. The worst qualities for bringing about the strength that you need to be the best human you can be. We push away those qualities often just so that we can be in the in crowd, chase the cultures, chase that need to be around money, chase that, lifestyle and the togetherness that comes with being in on the in crowd or whatever it is. Having access to different things that feel like luxury. You know what I mean? Letting capitalism define what your priorities are. And those priorities often have you bankrupting the various things that keep your families together. So that's what I'm trying to express to people. I hope people are able to see through the culture we have here that makes you do without actually feeling. It makes you go act without actually thinking. Just so that you can put yourself in a position to not be without. There's a lot of people who don't have a whole lot, who are strong in a sense that their family's together, that their community is there to keep them up when they go through the most difficult times, that they're not sitting alone in a home by themselves because they have the qualities around them that isn't prioritized above. Otherwise, just being at peace with yourself and your family. Money is not robbing them. They either have it or they don't, but together they can get it, and that's the most important thing to understand. So that's what I want to say to everybody, man. Hug your kids. Keep your family together. Stay in touch with people when they move out of town. Check in with your cousins. Keep people birthdays in mind. Keep it on your calendar and all that. And as time progresses, continue to check in with folks, man, because you don't want to lose touch with people while in this rat race, chasing money. You don't want your great-great-grandson to not have any clue who your other great-great-grandson is. That's the reality of how this goes. They won't know one another. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to say. I hope people are taking what I'm saying seriously, man. Like I said, we're in a rat race. It's always about money at the end of the day. Everybody's trying to get it, but that's an evil that's meant to rob you of a lot of what wealth truly is, man. And it's always going to be some type of sin-filled energy that's going to have you going toward material and lifestyle and luxury. And it's going to have you pushing away values of happiness and peace, loyalty, togetherness, balance, and humanity. It's always going to have you pushing that stuff away. And those are the things that's going to have you having the best reputation, having your mind at ease when you lay your head down for the last time, making sure that your family structure is in place so that what you've built doesn't deteriorate. It's those qualities that keep everything intact when you're gone. So value those things a bit more. Cherish your loved ones and be mindful of how you can keep them together. My name is BDF 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.